this is Sandra from Greyd, and today I'd like to show you how to use the user management in Greyd.Suite, with which you can create custom user roles with very specific custom capabilities, and for example have content on your website that is only visible and or editable by very specific user roles. So let's have a look. We're here in the Greyd.Suite dashboard and open the tab User Management. At first, you will see an overview of all users existing on the website you're currently on, including their email, user role, and the number of posts created. You can change their roles here, and when you click on New User, you will be sent to the default WordPress interface to create a new user. Here in the roles, you can then see all user roles currently existing on your page. You can edit them, and you can also create new user roles and will be able to define very individually what that specific user role should have capabilities for, what they can do and can't do. For example, you could have like an SEO writer that has cannot do nothing more than edit and update posts on your website. Or you can create a user role for customers with which they can edit the content of their website but cannot mess with the design, since you prevent them, for example, from editing templates in the back end. And if you don't want to go through all these very detailed settings each time individually, you can also copy the capabilities from an existing user role and use that as a template. And down here, you can also create meta fields, like for example the company, that you can then later query, for example, in the user registration form. Here in the links, you can then edit the login links, logout links, registration links, and also the links for the password reset. That way you can, for example, hide the login page of your website to make it less vulnerable. And you can also define redirects for people who access and try to access an admin screen or an old screen that's no longer available, if you want to have them on a 404 page or any custom URL, the home page, whatever. And last but not least, here are the emails. You can activate the SMTP function natively integrated in Greyd.Suite that enables you to send your WordPress emails via a verified server so that they don't end up in the spam folder. Therefore, just enter the respective data from your email provider and define whether and how your emails should be encrypted. You can also edit the sender of your email and also add additional users and or admins or people who should receive admin and or user emails in CC or BCC. And down here you can even edit each email that is sent from WordPress individually, including a preview, which you can see here for both user and admin emails. And as you can see, there's some emails that are grayed out here. This is because they are only editable on network-wide in a network administration, and that's why we are now going to have a look at the user interface, the user management from a network-wide perspective as well. So in general, the settings here are pretty much the same. You have an overview of all your users, but this time all users of the entire installation, including information on which websites they have access to and when they've been created. The user roles can be defined for each of your websites individually. You can again edit the links on your website, but this time for the entire installation. And as we've just discussed, there are some emails that you can only edit in the network administration. So much to the settings for the user management in general. What can you do now with your custom user roles? Well, for once, there's gated content. There's content on your website that is only accessible by certain user groups. So for each page, post, form, pop-up, etc. on your website, you will find a setting here on the right that makes it possible to exclude this particular post for certain user roles. For example, I do not want any SEO writer to be able to access this particular login page, so I enable this checkbox here. And each time an SEO writer is now trying to access that login page in the front end, he or she will be shown the 404 page instead. And after the same principle, I can also vary only sections within a page depending on who is currently visiting my website. We have a feature that's called dynamic content, and dynamic content makes it possible to display different contents automatically depending, for example, on the user role. So this entire section here, for example, is only visible if someone with the user role unknown, which means not logged in, is visiting my page, whereas this section here is only be shown to those that are logged in. And the same I can do with, for example, pop-ups. I can set them up in a way that they are only triggered if certain user roles, including my custom user roles, are visiting my website. If you want to learn more about dynamic content, about gated content, about how to set up such user registration and login, logout forms and pages, then please have a look at our help center where we have dedicated tutorials on all of that. For more videos and information, please visit our help center.